Hi, this is Donna. Welcome to DD Paper Crafts. In today's video, I'm going to try something a little bit different. I was fortunate enough to receive the Volume 1 and Volume 2 of the Colour Cubes by Sarah Renee Clark as a Christmas gift. If you haven't seen these, each box contains 250 reference images across a variety of themes and colour schemes, and each reference card you're given the colour palette, which contains the colour name, the hex numbers if you're doing digital, and then a 20% tint or 20% shade variation for each colour. I also took the opportunity between Christmas and New Year to take a long hard look at my stash, and I realised that I've become a stash collector rather than a stash user. So during the coming year I want to use more of my stash and more variety of stash usage in my projects. And I want to try and expand my creativity and just try some of the mediums which I have, which I've never actually used before. As a consequence, I created a set of digital roulette wheels, and my thought process is I will pick one random card from the box, which I'll then colour match to my alcohol markers, and then I will use the series of roulette wheels to choose the theme, the embellishments, the medium and the background. So this is going to be the first of that type of project. So let's see how this goes. So let's start by randomly picking a card from the box. So we have this one, which you can see the colours used there. First of all, I'm going to choose the theme, and this is birds. The next wheel is embellishments, and this is flowers. The next wheel is medium, and this is gilding flakes, which will be interesting because I've never used those before. And the final wheel is background, and this is embossing folder. So I'm going to use as many of those as I can using this colour palette. So the first thing I'm going to do is choose my card style. For the card base, I'm going to use two shop bought card blanks. This is one here, which I've then cut an aperture, leaving a 1/2 inch border all the way round. And the second card blank I've cut down, leaving a 1/2 inch border beyond the centre score line, and again I've cut an aperture, leaving a 1/2 inch border all the way round. So the idea is that it will be a tri-panel card which is going to stand up like so. I'll have my bird images in the two outer panels and then a floating sentiment in the middle. For the frame, which is going to sit in the centre of each aperture like so, I've chosen the card stock which was nearest to the Kelly Green, which I had in my stash, and then I've gone over the top with a Distress Oxide, which was Rustic Wilderness, which I felt was nearer to the Hunter Green. So I've already managed to use two colours. The cut and emboss folder is the tree frame from Made a Surprise, and this was from Craft Stash. So I've cut 3 of those in the green, and I'm now going to adhere those onto each of the panels. Once I've got those ready, I'm going to use the Paper Craft Society box 60 by Stamps by Me, and this is going to give me the 2 bird images which I'm going to use. I'm going to stamp, colour and die cut those, and I've swatched my markers, and I felt that the Spectrum Noir tri-blends actually gave me the nearest colours to the colours on the colour card. I'm using Alpine Light, Alpine Dark, Bright Pink Dark, Ice Grey and True Blue Dark. And these were the colours which I felt possibly Ice Grey could have been a little bit more lilac, but I have to work with what I've got. So I'm going to get on with the bird images and then we'll start to put the card together. I've stamped, coloured and die cut the 2 birds here and here, and I've also used some foliage dies which I've also coloured as per the card, and I'm going to use these die cuts to surround the birds. I'm going to stick the left and right hand panels down now, and then I'm going to work on the central panel, which I'm going to use a Gilding Flakes sentiment for. So we'll come back to that once I've got the other two panels ready. Once I've put the card together, I'm going to have a look how the card looks standing up and then decide whether I need to do anything to the back of the card. I did colour both sides of the foliage die, so I didn't have white on the back, but as yet I don't know whether I'm going to die cut another bird just to cover the back where the alcohol markers have seeped through. So let's get these done and then we'll come back and look at using the gilding flakes. I've now secured all the pieces in for the left and right hand panels. So we're now going to create the centre sentiment section. I'm going to use this Happy Birthday sentiment from the It's Just Paper by Justine Hovey. This is the Thankful die set. I was originally going to use the border element from the die as well and have it floating on some acetate across the middle, but I then realised that leaves me nowhere on the card that you could actually write your message. So I've cut two simple circles from using my circle die. I will possibly have a strip of acetate running between them so they can still float, but this means that the happy birthday can sit on the front and you'll have space on the back to write your message. The gilding flakes I'm going to use, which I've never used before. This has literally just come straight out of the box, even though I've had it for well over a year. This is from Crafter's Companion. I'm just going to have a go and see what happens. So it will either be a success or a failure. I haven't watched any tutorials, although the one thing that I have seen online is, where possible, try and do things inside a tub because the gilding flakes can go everywhere. So let's just see how this goes. I've cut the happy birthday twice and glued those together just to give some extra dimension. I'm going to put some glue on the mat. I don't know how quickly this dries, how much glue I need to use. This is just trial and error, to be honest. So I'm going to add the glue, and then I'm just using the gilding flakes and sticking it on with my fingers. Add a bit more glue, put some more gilding flakes on. Okay, so I've just watched a quick video and I think I was supposed to use the sponge to get the gilding flakes on the surface and to get them off straight away. So I might have to start this again, but that's fine. It's all a learning curve. Okay, I think I can safely say this is an unmitigated disaster and that's not how it should look. I've consequently decided this is not the route to go down because the letters seem too flimsy, so I don't think I'm going to get the look I want. I've watched a quick video and what I'm going to do is I've chosen a stamp and I'm going to add the glue to the back of the stamp it directly onto the circle and then add my gilding flakes. This may or may not work. I'm sure some of you can automatically see what I'm doing wrong. I'm not concerned too much at this time. I seem to have several pots of these gilding flakes around, so let's just give this another try. I think that I've put far too much glue on to start with, so I'm going to get that wiped off and start again. Let's try a little less glue this time. I've changed the sponge on the end of the blending so it's got a little bit more flexibility because mine was rigid from all the glue I've used it for. So I'm applying a lot less glue this time. So let's stamp that down and see what happens. Let's pull that away. Have I left that down too long? This doesn't seem quite right, I don't think. And the stamp has stuck. This is not really going to plan. Okay, that's definitely not worked. Okay, let's just flip the circle over. Add a bit more glue. We'll try again. I'm sure you're all sitting there thinking, you're doing this completely wrong. You're making life a lot harder for yourself. I clearly need to watch a YouTube video on this. There we are. I've lifted the stamp off a lot quicker. Let's put the gilding flakes on. At this point, I just want to get this done. I'm not worried about the mess. It's not too bad. I'm not really that happy with it. It's not perfect, and to be honest, I think given the amount of time and effort I've put into the rest of the card, I'm going to scrap the gilding flakes for this particular project. I like the idea of having a gold sentiment. I'm going to clean the stamp off and I'm going to gold emboss, and we'll come back to gilding flakes another time once I've watched some tutorials on using it. I'm sure it's not that difficult, but I seem to be making a meal out of it. So let's get this recreated using gold embossing powder. So here I'm just using the anti-static bag, using my Wow embossing ink, gold embossing powder, and I'm comfortable with this process and I'm happy with how this has come out. I don't think I actually need acetate. I think if I glue the circle properly and with the help of the additional foliage, I think this is going to be okay. I'm going to stick the circle into place because I can always add a strip of acetate after if I need to. So let's get that stuck down. I'm happy with that. And now I'm going to start to add in my additional foliage pieces. So let's get those stuck down on the outside. So this is the front of the card finished. Now, in terms of the back of the card, I think I am going to cut an extra white bird for this side and one for this side, just to stick those on the back and cover the alcohol marker. I've got the white circle to go on the back here, and because I do have the cardstock, even though they will be debossed rather than embossed, I'm going to recut 3 extra frames and add those onto the back, and that will just tidy everything up. So here's the finished card. I've added the extra layers onto the back. Not this yet because I haven't written my message, but I've added the 2 birds. So that's going to stick on there. That will cover that disaster up. By adding the extra panels, it has given the card more stability and more rigidity. So it was worth that extra effort, I think, of tidying it up. But that's obviously a personal choice. I'm really happy with how this card has come out. I know that the theme and the colour scheme will perhaps not be to everyone's taste, but it's certainly taken me outside of my comfort zone, has made me think about what I'm doing and given me the opportunity to use items from my stash such as the foliage dies and the cut and emboss folder, which have been sat in the stash and not been used. So that's a positive as far as I'm concerned. Here's the colour card that was chosen at the beginning, and if I just lay the card on top of the panel, you can see how the different colours have been incorporated into the card. What I'm going to do now is make a birdhouse gift box, which is going to use the same colourway and use some of the bird stamps, and then I will have a cards and gift box combo. If you would like to see that project and you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit the notification bell. Let me know whether you've enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up, and whether this is the type of video you'd like to see again in the future. And if you've got any advice regarding gilding flakes, please let me know in the comments below. So that's it for today's video, and until next time, thanks for watching.